If you're passionate about change and love a good laugh, then you need to join Chuck and Joe. Chuck and Joe are a dynamic husband and wife duo, tackling the biggest issues across the nation and around the globe. With a blend of wit and wisdom, they dive deep into current events, giving you the lowdown with a side of humor. They're not just talking heads, they're your fellow freedom fighters, committed to sparking meaningful conversations. From politics to social justice, no topic is off limits. So hit that subscribe button and join the freedom fighter community today. Let's laugh, learn, and fight for a better world together. Welcome to the Freedom Fighters podcast, where serious meets funny, just like Chuck and Joe.
Good evening, everyone. This is Chuck and Joe and the Freedom Fighters podcast. I want to welcome everyone tonight to the land of freedom. I just would like to start off with a couple of things I would like to get out of the way. First of all, if you have any comments this evening, I encourage you to email me at freedomfighterspodcast@gmail.com, or down below in the comment section, you can also put any comment that you choose. I'd also like to add, if you would, hit the like and subscribe button for me and my podcast so that we can be moved out there for others to hear. If you like it, please put a thumbs up. If you don't, that's okay. Just let me know why you didn't. Write it in the comment section. I do try to read every comment and I do try to respond. If you'd like to subscribe, we'd gladly take you. And to all those that have already subscribed and are my freedom fighters, thank you. We appreciate you, and America's counting on you. Let's move on. Tonight I want to discuss something that I do not believe that most Americans are aware of, a more serious subject. I'm going to talk to you about the elections, about election fraud from 2020 and what Manduro's role in all this was. I explained several videos ago a brief part about what I'm going to speak about tonight, but I did not put it in the entire video because it's rather lengthy. So tonight I'm going to try to break this down very easy for us, as easy as I can. If you have any questions, please write them in the comment section, like I've told you, and I will try to read those and get answers to you as I'm able. I would also like to refer you to an author that I find very invigorating. He's amazing. His name is Ralph, and I hope I pronounce this right, Pizzello. You can look him up at Ralph Pizzello at ralphpizzelloauthor.com. He wrote a book recently called Stolen Elections. That's what I want to talk to you about. America, we need to wake up. Our elections are being hijacked from us. And this isn't something that President Trump has been whining about, or that he knows nothing about, or he's crazy for saying. It's true. And they've not only been hijacked in America, they've been hijacked all around the world. I'm going to give you tonight some insight on this and give you a very short lowdown on what I believe to be true, to be horrific, and to possibly mean the freedom of the United States. It's that serious. Let us get started. First, I would like to talk to you about Hugo Chavez. He is the person that took the place of Maduro. Now, we all know Maduro is in New York, his wife and him both. That President Trump went over in a secret mission, brought him back, so that the American people can get justice, can be served. I've heard people yelling around the United States about how we wanted Venezuela for their oil. And there's a lot more than just oil, everyone. Oil, trafficking of people, women and children especially, trafficking of narcotics, and most of all, trafficking of our elections around the world. And I'm going to explain to you how that works. In Venezuela, the cartel, the biggest one in the world, is Cartel del Soles. Okay. Maduro helped head this up with the backing of the Cubans, the Russians, China, Mexico. It's a fact now that Hugo Chavez has taken over this cartel. They have a neat little symbol that's on their patch if they're generals, and you can tell who they are by this. In this particular cartel, they wear a sun. And they do that because the sun represents, the waking of the morning and everything's right. If you see that on an outfit on TV, you know that is one of the cartel's generals. They're very dangerous. And I just tell you that for a piece of information so that when you're watching the news, you can kind of pick out who's important. Now, Maduro is a very neat and complex man. Yes, he was brought to New York. Yes, he's being tried for many different things. And yes, they brought his wife. But what I believe and what I've read, I know that he brought his wife, or they got his wife so that they could use her against Maduro. What they wanted was for Maduro to be afraid enough to speak up on who was helping steal these elections, how, and why. As there's been a group in the United States of men that consist of ex-FBI agents, ex-officers, detectives, people who are great at journalism that can research things. They stayed on this case. They've been on it for a good 4 or 5 years now. They knew that this was happening in Venezuela long before it hit the United States. There's many questions behind this, which I'm going to raise here in a moment. But Maduro was being backed, like I said, by the Cubans, the Chinese, the Russians, and the Mexican cartel. He decided that he wanted to be into power, and he wanted the Venezuelan people to think that they had voted him in. So after a regime change, which was the whole reason that these machines, which I'm going to talk about right now, were invented. Maduro and a very high intelligent group put together these machines. I obviously can't tell you how they work. I think that you can obviously probably read that in the book that I told you about a minute ago. But to break it down, these machines were put together, and then in a nutshell, they were tried out in Venezuela. They showed that Maduro won the election when millions and millions of people in Venezuela knew they didn't vote for him. They couldn't figure out how it happened. After all, they were using high technology, not hand ballots, not something from, 100, 200 years ago. They were, up to par, up to speed, the newest things. They had to accept it, whether they wanted to or not. But he wanted to look, Maduro, like he had really won in the eyes of the rest of the world, so they would accept him as a leader, not just as a cartel leader. So, like I've said, with the help of the CIA, and yes, I said the CIA, among other agencies, which I am going to choose not to mention right now. You can read it in the book, just for political reasons. Anyway, they put together this machine, found out that it worked, and they thought, hey, if we used it in Venezuela, why can't we use this around the world? So immediately they assumed, like we see often happens, once you find something and you make it good, you find a way to cheat it. Once you found a way to cheat it, you find a way to use it. They were using it to take out old regimes and vote in new ones, even though they were saying that these were democracies or republics. The joke to this is there were many, many elections hijacked until it came across a whistleblower's desk and he realized what was going on. He and another whistleblower brought stuff to the United States, proof, gave it to our government in the Biden administration, and of course, it was pushed aside. They were blackballed. They were threatened, and there was a group of them at this time, but the two whistleblowers were the main people at first. They, after that, after they got threatened, got a group of people together under, undercover, and they went after these governments. They went over there with their lives. Some of them gave their lives. Some of them have been pushed around, their lives ruined with, well, you know how the CIA does things in America. Run your reputation, your bank account, whatever. They've been through it all, but they stood tall. And so did the people that helped them. Long story short, they had everything together right before Biden left office. They saved it for the new FBI so that they could maybe have a chance to explain to President Trump, the American people, and the world that our elections are being hijacked. It's the one thing in America that we hold very high. We're free from tyranny. We came here in 1775 to be free and to vote for our presidents, just as many other countries are doing, not to have them stolen by elections. Other countries, other people, other organizations, other agencies that think they know better. We, the people of whatever country, and we, the people of America, want fair and free elections. So they gave it to the FBI. This time, the FBI got it to President Trump, which I've also learned in the process of this research. It was also gotten to him in addition to being taken to the FBI so that they both would indeed know. And the FBI started investigating it. They found out that things were being done improperly. But the question was, by who? Now, I've mentioned the CIA, and of course, no one wanted to believe our CIA was involved. It's still a question, everyone. Who was behind this? And if it is the CIA, which is like what we think, what should be the punishments for these people? Treason? I don't know. Job loss? What is the punishment you give to someone who steals an election, who knows that they're stealing from the American people? Moving on, President Trump goes in to take Manduro. He brings him back to America with his wife. And if you haven't noticed, everyone, the FBI just raided Fulton County of their ballots for the 2020 election, and the tabulation tapes and all the images of the ballots that were being brought in for count after the election was officially finished. It was supposed to end on a certain day, which it always has, and yet they were still bringing ballots in. Well, of course, with the information that I have just given you, and that the mainstream media has refused and is just plain too stupid to put up because they're so left now, and with the deep state, that we haven't heard about it, or at least I've heard about it. People who watch podcasters have heard about it because we're reporting it. I find it despicable, while I'm here on this subject, that all you news media and all you journalists haven't gotten into this with the American people. It's so important, and you're so far behind, and I'm so ashamed to even say that we have news in the United States. It's just, you're not worth anything. Moving on, Kristi Noem was there. So you have to automatically assume if Kristi Noem was seen there, that it also has international ties, correct? She is the head of DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, which I've already told you, Manduro's group is still going over there, the cartel, Del Solis, and they are still manning what President Trump is trying to bring down. And he's trying to do it without a war. I'm telling you, I don't know how this is going to be done, but it needs to be done. And okay, so in this process of them bringing this stuff to Washington, of course, the Dems are having a fit. The left is having a fit. And why? Because they raided and took this information without them allowing them to. They have asked, and I mean the White House has asked and asked and asked DHS, whoever, to have this given to them so that they can work with each other. They wouldn't do that. The FBI got the information that I've just told you about and had Maduro here in the United States to verify all the people that are in on this. It's a big deal, everyone. You need to watch Maduro. He may get off like Epstein. I mean, I just think it's a fact. It's a lot of powerful people who don't want this out. And let's face it, Maduro started this, so he has all the answers. I say smart move by President Trump. But moving on, I want to introduce you to some things that I know about these machines and what's going on with them. Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you about the machines themselves. Okay? Ex-Dominion voting systems was used, and ex-Dominion voting system executive Eric Coomer admitted under election oath January 27 of 2026 deposition in Coomer versus Byron, I believe, Byrne, to discussing 1, voting equipment, 2, adjudication software and source code with foreign nationals. Now, we know that they collided and also helped China, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela put these machines in other places. And he's testifying to this, including Siberia, and could troubleshoot. Now get this, could remote troubleshoot and into the Denver office during the 2020 election. He could just sit back, remote view it, watch it as the 2020 election was going on and change the numbers. This contradicts all the years that Dominion has denied foreign involvement in the U.S. election. Interesting, huh? Then you get into the software that they've used. It's called Smartmatic. And what happens with the Smartmatic is the machines get made, and the software is made by, you guessed it, China. And if you didn't, China. China puts all the information together, puts the machines together. They send it to Taiwan. Taiwan puts the software together that's from China. And then they slap on a made in Taiwan sticker. And then the machines come to the United States. They're passed out. Wow. Let's think about this for a minute. They come to the United States and they're passed on. Who's passing them on? Well, guess who's passing them on out of the United States? The United States Embassy in every country that had free elections. The United States was giving out these somatic software packages. And they spread this software around the world. Again, I ask you, are intelligence services involved in this? CIA? Come on. It's crap. It's crap. They're suspected, I guess. I shouldn't really say it definitively, but according to papers and according to my readings from the book I just described to you, it sure indicates the CIA and U.S. involvement. One little thing that really irritates me, actually, there's a lot that irritates me, but there was a time, even in my lifetime, that everyone walked down the street and was proud to be an American. We were proud to vote. And now all I hear is, why should I vote? It doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. Everyone, your votes count. Elections have been won by one vote. One vote. We need to push, and I mean push, in the House and the Senate, the SAVE bill. Because if it's not passed through and we don't go back to paper ballots and identification, we're going to lose the United States. We're going to lose the world to the one world order, better known as the deep state. And people, what that means is socialism and communism. Government running us, telling us what to do, the elites being elite, getting richer, and the poor getting poorer. It'll make Los Angeles streets and the homeless look like nothing. It's not a threat, it's promised. Get on the SAVE Act. Push the SAVE Act. Push for identification of people. And of only of United States citizens to vote. Get on the phone with your congressmen and your senators and tell them that you want this done and we're watching them. And remember, everyone, I'm pushing you to go and vote, even at the midterms. Because President Trump needs to hold on to the House, the Senate, and presidency. If they get in, they're going to try to impeach President Trump. And everything that we fought for is going to go down, along with us. They've told us in no uncertain terms, meaning the left, that they're coming after us. If we are right, if we are Christians, if we are white men, if we voted for Trump or follow Trump, they're going to get us. And I believe this. Look at what they're doing already. With it claimed by mayors to be nothing, that we should just turn our heads. And beating on one another and killing each other out in the roads and beating up cops and not having respect for any authority is the way it should be. Well, you can't have a nation of lawlessness. You have to have rule and order to have a society. Just look at history. It tells you that. And for all you young people out there that don't understand, you need to go in and read this book. Or you need to go and watch Promethean Action with Barb and Susan. They explain so much more than I can. Even the War Room puts on stuff. Even if you don't like the War Room, They still explain everything that's going on with these elections. And this bothers everyone, not just Republicans. This is not a Republican Democrat matter. It is for the United States of America to have free and independent elections, to pick our leaders. Citizens, listen. If being in America is so bad, why is everybody in the world trying to get in here? You need to look and talk to communist friends across the world and socialistic friends. They'll tell you they're all fighting to get out of their countries. And you want to bring that here? You young people just don't understand what you're asking for. Research it. Don't take my word for it. Research it. And you older people, you're with me. You know the things I do as far as our generation. We have to get out and we have to vote, Generation X, baby boomers. We all need to vote. Don't think just because Trump is in there and we're making some strides, or just because you're angry at him for one little thing, think what the elections mean. Make our homeland stay free. We don't want to lose this now. I'm going to end with a quote. And this is a rated or a X-rated quote as far as I'm concerned. So if you don't like cuss words, you don't have to listen to this last part. But this is something that was said by Eric Coomer, you know, the gentleman from Ex-Dominion Voting Systems. If you don't think he was in on stuff, check into him doing his deposition, like I said, under oath, January 27th. This is what he said on a phone call. He was talking, get a load of this, he was talking to Antifa. And they were talking about the 2020 election. This is what was said. Don't worry about the elections, Eric said. Trump's not going to win. I made fucking sure of that. Well, Eric, I've made sure your fucking name's out there. I've made fucking sure that the American people know what's happening. And I hope like hell that you don't plan on living here, because we don't want you. Get out, you traitor. I'm going to leave it at that. Last thing I want to say, everyone, on a lighter note, is I came up with something I wanted to do. It's deep in my heart. I want to start a movement across America of where we stand together to save this country's voting. I called it Save, Stop the Violence. But unfortunately, the other day, Schumer, who I understand is a Democrat, by the way, to whoever said I don't understand that, very much understand that. He had a sign behind him and he used my words. So I changed it to Hacks. Join Hacks with me. And Hacks stands for, how about common sense? I'd like to go out and protest alongside some of these protesters the right way. To show them how it's done the right way. But it will take many of us. It'll take many to help me do this. If you're interested in helping in any way, by getting people in your state on board, Maybe having shirts printed up, we could figure out a way to do that. Getting people to a certain area all on a certain day around the nation. Get with me. If you have computer skills, get with me. If you can make a site, get with me. Help me out. I want to save this country. And whether you like my podcast or whether you hate my podcast, y'all know I'm right. Jump in and help me save our voting. It's our last real honor, other than serving in the armed forces, that we can do as just citizens. Thank you for being with me tonight. This is Chuck and Joe. And until next week, thank you, freedom fighters in America. Good night.